Okay, let's move on. Okay, we made this group. We will be assigning this group to already exist. Change the object? Yes. So we had testing hours auto and testing hours manual because we want indirect activity allocation in for cost centers. That will be for time element based on the items and objects going under quality inspection. Okay. Next is SPRO, controlling cost center accounting, um, actual posting, period end closing, activity, because this is indirect activity allocation, splitting between cost centers. Okay, the splitting will be of the cost between cost centers based on hours and SKF, which is statistical key figure unit. Statistical key figure is your metric, your unit. Okay. Okay. Splitting rules. Splitting rules and splitting structure. Okay. We actually created L9. Okay, no, not L9. We'll be creating for WAP. Okay. Splitting rules. WAP1, we have already created that. Equivalence numbers planning. Method is 21. Now, what is method 21? Equivalence number planning. So what is equivalence number? The number of activity recorded by cost centers according to that activity allocations will be done based on that. So what is our activity? It is indirect activity based on counting of the objects passing the quality test, and those items testing will of course require time. So based on counting, the number of hours will be then given the equivalence number, activity cost. Okay, so that is the basis that we are forming over here. Okay, so WAP1 selection for rules. Okay, new entries, version 0. Okay, version 0. Save. Okay, now splitting structures, new entries, V1, which is WAP splitting structure. Okay, V1 assignments. Assignment will be new entries. Assignment will be VA1 rule. Now the rule we made over here will be given over here. The rule was WAP1 based on the equivalence weightage 21, which is equivalence. the assignment will be given. Now, what is splitting structure? This might be confusing you right now, but um, WAP splitting structure assignment. Okay, VM1 selection for assignment. Okay, field label, new entries. Okay, cost element we have made OH. So cost, activity type, tests. Okay, and save. Now, what is this basically combination of? Cost element and activity type. What is activity? Counting of the objects going through the quality testing. So the number of, for example, 100 pieces have been counted, and that took 100 pieces were passed, and that took 4 hours. So those 4 hours will be costed and valuated. By valuated, I mean it will carry a value those 4 hours. For example, when 100 pieces were passed through testing, it was originally 120 pieces were actually put under testing, and 20 were rejected. So 100 pieces that got passed were actually worthy of time to be included in that activity type. Okay. So the cost element is over here, the cost element for the QA testing. Okay. Save. Now let's go back to our configuration node. I hope this is clear. This is a little bit, it seems a little bit complex, but it's not that complex when you actually practice all this. Okay. Now assignment of splitting structure with the cost centers. Okay. So what we'll do, cost center, LAP9. No, we don't want LAP9. We want, okay. Oh, okay, okay. S. Maps. One, zero, zero. Oh, again, we'll have to go back. Assign splitting structure to cost centers. WAPs 1001009 and versions, all versions, which is fiscal year 2023. Okay. This is tricky actually. Change button, because we are into 2024, but I'll have to see what is our, okay, non-assigned quality center. Now this is 10109 quality control cost center. We have WAP, okay, and we want to assign it. Now, what do we have here? We have 109, which is assigned to this splitting structure. What splitting structure? Quality control, passing of the objects that are being counted. If those are passed, that passing will, of course, will give valuation to the time that it took to pass a product. Okay, I hope you get the point. Save. Simple as that. Okay. Now, let me just explain to you what we are actually going to do in the next. Direct entry, indirect allocation. Indirect entry, indirect allocation. Activity planning is allowed. Activity planning is that in this month, 100 pieces will be passed. Okay. That is activity planning. It can be done in KP26. In indirect entry, indirect allocation, activity planning is not allowed. Price can be calculated. In this, price cannot be calculated because sender quantity is unknown. In actual sender activity, now what is sender activity? The quality control. Quality control. Sender quantity can be entered manually. How many pieces have been passed? In this case, indirect entry, indirect allocation, sender quantities. Now, what is sender? Sender is the cost center over here. But over here in direct entry, indirect allocation, we have an activity type under the quality control cost center. So this is just the concept I'm trying to uh, make clear. Quantity and cost can be allocated. Yes. How many bottles were passed and counted, and the cost of the time that it took to count this quantity that passed. Only quantity can be allocated. Sender quantity determined only after activity allocation. Okay. And then we can calculate the price. Over here, we have an example. Sender quantity 720 hours. Allocated quantity is 300 plus 200 plus 220 hours. Allocation basis is 300, 200, 220 items. It's just an example, is not related to those QA control, but it's just a concept that I'm sharing over here. Over here, allocated quantity, 300 items into 1 hour plus 200 items into 1 hour, 220 items into 1 hour is 720 hours. So 720 items into 1 hour is 720 hours. Okay. So basically over here, based on the quantity, we are calculating the allocations. Over here, we have the sender quantity and the allocated quantity. What we are allocating based on the units and SKF. Okay. Again, both of these are indirect allocation that we were talking about. So let's move forward. Even if this was not clear, it will be clear once you actually go through the concept again. Now let's go back. We have already saved this. Spiero, reference IMG. Controlling, cost center accounting, cost center accounting, actual postings, period end, period end closing, activity allocation, price calculation, settings for cost component split, very important. Okay. And define cost component structure. Okay. Now, this is a very important part, basically define cost component structure. Cost component structure 0, 1. Okay. Copy as because this is sample layout, that's why we're using this. V1 active. V1. Okay. What is our chart of accounts? Can anyone remember? Maps. Element. Chart of account not found. How is it possible? Okay, 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 okay. Save. V1. Okay. Cost components with attributes. Now this basically has some issues. That's why I was actually looking into that. Okay. Now, select all, delete, deletion not allowed. V1. Okay. Select all, delete, continue. Okay. New entries. Cost component structure V1. Cost component 10. Consumables. Fixed and variable cost. Next entry. V1. 30. Electricity. Electricity. fixed and variable. Okay. V150 fixed and variable. Okay. Okay. Cost of goods manufactured, yes, it will impact that. Roll-up cost component, now what is this? Let me tell you that. Fixed and variable cost, okay, fixed and variable cost, commercial inventory, inventory valuation, okay, cost of goods sold. Now this element will actually impact COGM and it will be reflected in your P&L. Inventory valuation, fixed and variable cost, both will be absorbed into the valuation of the inventory. Fixed and variable in the commercial inventory that will be sold to your customer. Okay. Now roll up cost component is what is that? For example, there are 10 stages in production of your product. Okay, from raw material, it goes from one plant to next plant to semi-finished good. And semi-finished good goes under like two or three components, levels, and then finally it becomes the finished product ready to be shipped. So that actually covers, for example, 10, 11 levels. So every level is costed and it rolls up to the final finished good component. So that is cost roll up. Okay. I hope that was easy. If it is not easy, we'll repeat this. Okay. Salaries fixed and variable. Okay. Save. Okay. Cost element. Do you want me to explain this or no? What do you say? V1 chart of accounts is maps from cost element is 400. 392 cost component will be 30. V1 400, 600. We've already made this. Sorry, this is 50. V1 VAPS chart of accounts 400, 500, and this is 90. Okay. Electricity, rent, salaries. Okay. Now, origin group basically is also used in material master. We'll see this later, but right now we'll just keep it empty. Okay. And let's save it. Okay. Cost component structure folder. Okay. Now let's make it active. It is active. Save. Data was saved. So I'll stop over here. I know this is a little